Hey friends, so today we are talking to the stars of Succubus, Brendan Bradley and Rachel Cook. Thank you very much for your time today. I've watched this movie and it's something I wasn't expecting. I thought it was gonna go one way and it went completely other. I loved it. I enjoyed it a lot. But for you two, like when you first received the script, like what was your thoughts on this movie and why did you want to do this movie?
Rachel, you want to take it away?
Yep. Yeah, I first received the scripts, and as I was reading it, it's pretty intense, and I was a bit hesitant, but it was also at a time where I was like, just for whatever reason, really craving to kind of play in some darkness, and I was like, well, this is definitely dark, so I just said yes and went for it.
And I knew Dan Hanna because I did his thesis at USC several years ago, and we'd stayed in touch. And he wrote the script during the pandemic and wanted to like workshop some scenes. And the film uses a lot of in-world cameras like phones and laptops and baby monitors. And he wanted to test if any of that would work. And so I'd go over to his house, he'd rewrite a scene, we'd play around with it, he'd film it on different devices, edit something together, then invite me back a couple weeks later and we'd try it again. And I just kind of slowly became Chris throughout that process. And so I felt like I almost like theater, I really got to workshop my way into the role and into the story by really slowly peeling back the layers of Chris and the layers of how Dan wanted to tell this story.
Yeah, I did get lucky and talked to Dan last week, and he did mention how not only were you two acting in this, but you two were actually holding the cameras in certain scenes. So when you found that you were doing that also, like how was that like difficult? Or would it make it easier or difficult to film your scenes using a camera or a phone for most parts?
I mean,
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think with so go, yeah, go Rachel.
okay. I think it made it both. It made it both easier and difficult. It just depends. I come from more of a social media background, so I'm used to vlogging and filming myself, and so getting to tell the story in that way was really cool. But it was definitely also an added challenge because, I'm trying to memorize my lines and do everything else I'm supposed to do as an actress. But it was a really cool way to get to act. Like I have a big camera, even the Alexa sometimes in between me and Brendan, and that was so different, but it was really fun.
Yeah, that physicality of Dan always trying to put a lens in between the actors and the performers, and then I have to manipulate that. I mean, so much of any filmmaking, especially the intimate scenes we're doing and things like that, are such clean choreography, really mapped out. But then adding a camera into the mix was a whole new level, and that was true for every single performer on set. Everybody's first day was working with the phone or working with the laptops. And so, like Ron Pearlman, his first day on set was the baby monitor, and he walked into a room with a crib and no camera. And he's like, "Where the F is the camera?" And Dan had to run in and be like, "There is a camera. This is a real movie. We're just getting this first. And then we'll go into the other room and it's all set up." And so it's like everybody was encountering this kind of like new element to the process, which is so exciting.
Yeah, because there have been movies that have been made that have like they've used like that, like different phones or laptops. But seeing it done this way, not only did it like draw you in, but it also made you feel like the minimalist vision that they had. Because you're just basically in one room throughout the entire movie, Rachel, until like till the end. And then for you, Brandon, it's like we do see you like in multiple rooms, but you never really see you outside of the house. So I think that was pretty great of doing it that way. You kind of alluded to this already, but do you guys have any other like Ron Perlman stories that you want to share within making of this?
I mean, I can tell you that when we were doing all the driving scenes, I basically, if I'm not on camera, I'm behind the camera somewhere hiding to be able to feed lines and have the scenes with everybody. And so I'm behind Ron's driver's seat, ducked down, giving the lines while he's driving. And we actually drove a little too far out of our kind of county in Montana that we were filming. And so the local police didn't know about the filming because that wasn't where the permit was. And we were just kind of like turning around to come back. So we got pulled over by the police with Ron at the wheel. And the police, they come in hot. They're all, Montana troopers coming up to the door. And Ron comes out of the car and extends his hand. He's like, "Hi, I'm Ron." And four state troopers just go pale white and back up, just smiling, like, "Yeah, yeah, hey, hey." Which is great. So if you ever want to disarm, get yourself out of a speeding ticket, you just need Ron Perlman in the car.
That's amazing.
When one thing also too that I noticed about the movie, there are certain scenes in it that are just like really like push me back. When you read the script, was there certain moments that you couldn't wait to see how they were finally filmed or see like the final product of it?
Yeah, most of it for me. A lot of it, like we were saying, was shot in such a unique, different way, and we were kind of flipping through these different worlds. So for me, I was just like, I was having a hard time even imagining how it was going to come together. So to see it, I was like, wow, this is so sick. It's beautiful, and it flows so well. So I was really impressed.
For me, yeah, that jumping back and forth between, we were shooting everything almost like theater, where we were doing full takes, 5, 10, 15 pages of the entire scene on the phone or then also on the Alexa. And Dan wasn't necessarily sure early on when he was going to be where. He wanted to really play with that sense of lens and perspective. And so that contrast between, I'm the camera, am I doing it right? Is this okay? Versus knowing Jimmy Woo and his beautiful cinematography and lighting was going to absolutely elevate the scenes. And for me, it was so exciting the first time I watched it, getting to see when we were choosing to be in which perspective. And to me, that really just elevated the whole story.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, there's a lot of great moments in that that's captured, and especially since you guys are doing the recording. For Rachel, my question for you is: when we finally see Audra in her final state, like, what was that process for you? Was it like actual prosthetics that were put on, or was it CG? And then, like, how did it feel to walk out on set like that?
Yeah, it was like 6 hours-ish of being in makeup with Eric Zapata and Gabby Romans, and they did such a good job. It was really intense though. There was a lot of like time between scenes where I'm just sitting there like full demon mode, like in the corner just waiting, which is really funny. But yeah, it was really fun to do that. Such a unique opportunity, and it really helps me get into my full Adra demon mode.
I know that you have a screening, I think this Friday, the 20th. How do you think it's gonna, how do you feel being in that audience, watching people react to the movie? And do you know if there's gonna be more screenings, like hopefully throughout the city or through country after this?
I think what we know is it comes out everywhere you rent movies on the 24th of September. There may be some screenings popping up around that, depending on different cities, obviously festivals and things like that. So um, I'm definitely eager to know where it will be. It's always so different to experience a film with an audience, right? You can really gauge. Rachel and I know what's going to happen, but getting to really see it through the lens of others is really the joy of filmmaking, of experiencing what they're experiencing and seeing where the humor plays and where the horror plays.
Yeah, it'll be my first time doing anything like this, getting to watch myself on a big screen with a bunch of people. So I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, there's like there's a couple moments in there that I told Dan this, I had to walk away from my computer or from my phone because I was watching it because of the how graphic it was. But I thought it was so great. And I do have one
What
final question
can
for
you tell us? Can you tell us one of those moments?
Yeah.
it was, well, it was two. One that incurred that was a death of a certain character, and then
Hmm.
something that you did towards near the end of the movie that I was just like, okay, I'm gonna walk away for a minute.
That's fair. That's fair.
But I thought those were great scenes. And like I said, many men are gonna be wincing in their seats when they see that. Being that you are in this horror movie, my last question for you would be, what is your favorite horror movie?
My favorite horror movie is Jennifer's Body. I just love the contrast of of this sexy, cool girl being also so evil. I think it's funny and it's fun.
And for me, it's always the balance of kind of dark humor with pure darkness. And so I always love like horror comedy. So like Young Frankenstein, Tremors, Shaun of the Dead. That's always where I'm going to trend because I don't love to be scared, but I do love creature work and being in those dark realms. But I always want the safety of the comedy to bring me out of it.
Nice, nice. Thank you two very much. Friends, again, Succubus comes out September 24th. You can on demand. and then you can rent it too. If it comes at a fest or screening near you, definitely go check it out. I hope you guys come to Chicago because I definitely want to see this on the big screen. But much success to the movie, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Victor. Bye.